welcome everyone. Lovely little intimate gathering for today. I'm very excited to have Yvonne and Quo, I hope I'm pronouncing those correctly, yep. From Taiwan joining us this evening for the tasting. I imagine hopefully the time zone isn't too different, so it's not too early in the morning like we normally do for our guests.
No, it's actually 2 hours, so we're 5 p.m. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, well, it's just some light afternoon drinking then, I suppose. And of course, sneaking around in the background, we've got Kelvin and Yao from the Elysian Whiskey Bar. They got a bar to run, so they'll be on mute and they might need to run away to serve customers, but they'll be popping their heads in, which is always nice to see them. Before I hand over, just the usual housekeeping. If you have multiple glasses for all the different whiskies, that would be awesome. I highly recommend it. That way you can go back to some of the earlier ones and use them for reference. I believe almost all of them are cask strength. We've got some softer ones around the 47–49% mark. But obviously, please don't drive if you're drinking all these whiskies. The tastings are recorded, so for those who want to watch back or who can't make it tonight, you can catch it on YouTube. Ollie will send the link out after the tasting. And we've got the poll set up at the end. So at the end of the tasting, you guys can tell us your top 2 favorite whiskies, and then we can share that information with Quo and Yvonne so that they can see what your favorites were. It's all anonymous, I promise, even though it's a small group. But yeah, if you have any questions or tasting notes, pop them into the chat, or potentially, if it stays small, raise your hand and we'll see if we can do a verbal question to the guys. So Yvonne is joining us as Quo's lovely translator. So obviously a little bit of patience, but I think we're pretty used to listening to people from all over the world when it comes to whiskey. So we're just very excited for you guys to share your story about the whiskey age whiskey blues. So yeah, take it away, guys.
Okay. So I'm Yvonne and this is Quo.
Hi.
And he is our the sales director for Whiskey Age and Whiskey Blues. And so as Emma mentioned, I'll be translating. So yeah, so once he'll definitely point me to the right directions to where I'm going, etc., etc. So we will share the PowerPoint presentation we've prepared, and then we will disappear from the screen. So you can just follow the PowerPoint. We can then later send the document to you if you fancy having a nice PowerPoint. Okay. 那就这个分享。你要帮我关掉。没好。Can everyone see the presentation okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Cool.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so a little bit about us. So the company is called Whiskey Age. So, you know, as you're all familiar with it. And we currently have more than 700 whiskey and rum casks in Scotland, and, you know, very recently in Ireland as well. And we bottle around 100 casks per year from Scotland. And not only do we have our own independent bottling brands, the 2 brands, we also do private bottlings for clients. And so we're very experienced in the cask trading business, the bottling process, warehousing, and, you know, basically the whole 9 yards of the works of, you know, how to bring whiskey from one place of the world to the other. And towards the end of this year, we will also be opening a brick and mortar store and a bar in October, right by our office, actually. Check it. So a little bit about the differences between Whiskey Blues and Whiskey Age. One was, so Whiskey Blues was, the first release was in 2018. And I would say the character is a bit more, you know, we put do as we please here. So it's a bit more probably a bit of a more of a wild choice, and probably something that you don't see all the time, but we probably find it really good. You know, we discuss everything ourselves, you know, amongst ourselves, and we think it's good, and we release it. And Whiskey Age then was the first release was 2021. Less wild, but it's definitely something that is popular, can be, you know, so if you like whiskey, you'll probably like it. It's definitely more of a choice for everybody, we would say.
Okay.
So then Guo now will go into more details about what the Whiskey Blue brand is, and you know why we choose the artwork we choose, etc., etc. So he will first say everything in Mandarin, and then I'll translate.
所以你刚刚讲我们怎么去选的？
没有，
OK， Hi, sorry, I speak Chinese. The Whiskey Blues, 我们这个品牌的话，它就是主要我们自己在选酒的方面，就是希望它是比较偏较有个性的，然后风格会比较强烈一点的。那我们也有点比较带一点任性的感觉，是因为我们自己从这上面你可以看到，我们有大概选了5款不同脂类浓度的牙买加朗姆酒 Highland。那这个牙买加的朗姆酒 Highland 其实就跟你在一开始喝尼美 PT Whisky 一样，就是可能有些人不太能接受，但是它其实它的风味是非常有多层次跟变化的，所以我们就想说很任性的把它装瓶出来，可以让更多人去了解到说，哇，原来牙买加的朗姆酒它的表现是可以这么的丰富跟多元，就跟你喝了尼梅威士忌一样，一开始你可能不太喜欢，但是你慢慢接受了以后，你会发现呢，它其实非常的很多的变化这样子。
So as we mentioned previously, Whiskey Blues is definitely it's got more of a character of, you know, do as we please, and we pick something that may not be super obvious for people to pick. The typical example is the Jamaican rum, the Jamaican rum from Hamden, and we picked 5 different ABVs, different ester, and just so you can compare them and contrast. And this is probably not a typical choice because you know, some people can think, you know, oh, they're all rums, you know, why would you then bottle 5 rums? But because we love this so much that we hope that people can see different styles of rum. So hence you know, the choices.
所以呢，你们也可以看到它在Whisky Farm 啊，或者是 Whisky Note， 我们自己目前The Whiskey Blues 的这些选桶，不管是威士忌还是朗姆酒，都有很好的评价这样子。
Okay, so whether it's on Whiskey Find, on Whiskey, the different we have good scores from, you know, different people, that because we send samples to them. So even though they may not be the typical choice, they still receive great feedback.
然后我们主要呢，像Whiskey Blues， 我们是跟台湾的一些插画家去做联名，然后去选他们的画作来做一个系列，是因为我们会希望呢，透过威士忌这样的一个媒介呢，可以让呢更多人可以看到他们的一些作品，所以在每一次的一些新的系列的新品发表的时候，我们都会去介绍这些作家，还有这些酒标它的一些故事跟背景。
We work with different artists locally in Taiwan, and in the future we will also be working with artists across the world, because we want to showcase their art through whiskey. We hope people get to know their artwork through whiskey. So this is definitely something that we spend quite a lot of time within our team, choosing artists that we like and turning them into a series, and so to tell a story of the brand, and then to in a way getting people to know different artists.
大家有比较喜欢哪一个风格的酒标吗？
Does anyone have any preference in any what sort of style of labels do you like?
Well, I think Well, I think firstly, if anyone isn't already tucking into the Linkwood, I couldn't wait. So, so yeah, I think, and please guys, pop it in the chat if you guys have had any Whiskey Age or Whiskey Blues bottles. I know that there was, I think it was one with this like Cheshire cat looking thing. It was on the bar at the Elysian. I think it was a either a Laphroaig or a Bunnahabhain, and it was so beautiful. Like, so you guys, do you work with some artists for multiple labels, or do you work with different artists for all the labels?
We work with different artists for a series of labels.
Oh.
So we tend to pick, say, 5 to sometimes came up. I think the most we've done so far is 5. So all these 5 labels will be from the same artist, and once they've completed a series, so to speak, then we then move on to a different artist. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so should we sort of jump ahead and do a tasting of Linkwood and then come back to the presentation, or how do you think?
Yeah, let's do that, because I don't want to leave these guys high and dry for too
Okay.
long. But yeah,
Okay.
tell us about the Linkwood 30-year-old.
Okay.
可以
那就先跳，然后再回来。
哦，好，那这一款林克物的话呢，其实它主要我们在选的时候呢，它就是我们希望呢，它带一点点个性的话，就是林克物的本身它的新酒感是带一点点花香，还有一点点就是果香的调性。
Okay, so Linkwood, when it's new make, then you have it's floral and fruity. So this is it tends to be the character of Linkwood. Based the art series on the whiskey. Right, someone's asked, do you base the art series on the whiskey? 我们的那个酒标应该是跟 whisky 跟威士忌没有关联吧，对不对？
对，其实
没有关联，
大部分是没有关联的。
OK
对，就是可能，但是又冥冥之中又不小心有一点点关联的，就是
怎么说有关联？
虽然呢，我们的酒标呢跟我们的就是威士忌就是酒本身其实没有什么太大的关联，是因为我们希望呢大家可以比较着重在里面装的酒质的表现的部分，但其实我觉得蛮有趣的地方是，有时候它的风味又可以刚好恰巧跟酒标有做一个连接起来这样子。
Okay.
对，就像这一款Linkwood。
So in general, it's not really related to the label and the whiskey, but sometimes is actually quite. Sometimes it actually somehow connects one to the other. So we'll explain why. What we meant by that. 那你说Linkwood怎么样？
Linkwood，
那先回答。
好。像这款Linkwood的，你可以从酒标上面看到，它就是一开始是它就是把贩卖机看成很像是一个建筑物的形状，然后呢，这个贩卖机里面呢，它又是里面又可以再卖它的饮料部分，其实就跟Linkwood的一样，他们当初有一个旧厂跟一个新厂，然后在一个时期的时候也是混合在一起去做一个调和的基酒这样子。
Okay, so if you look at this Linkwood label, the artist actually turned different drink cartons into like a mini vending machine, like a mini store. And so for Linkwood, you know, there was an old distillery and then there's a new distillery. So it somehow then, you know, it kind of mimics this whole idea of combining different drinking cartons into a piece of, you know, art. And then you know, somehow mirrors the whole old distillery and the new distillery story. So it's not intentional, but a lot of the times that it can sort of, you know, connect one to the, you know, to the other. Yeah. Someone else is asking something. You buying new make and barreling, or you buying it in a barrel and storing it? 我们是买新酒，然后就是收成，还是说直接就是？
我们直接买桶子。
我们是直接买桶子。
对，我们直接买桶子。
We just to answer this question to Howard, we actually buy casks. so already with the liquid in them. So we actually don't bind. Yeah, so it's already with the liquid in them.
Yeah, so you don't, do you then continue to mature them on site, or do you get them ready to bottle?
Most of the casks, they are maturing in the warehouse somewhere. We also have a casks that we bottle straight away, but it really depends on the situation. Yeah.
And yeah, Ollie was wondering if you trade casks with other independent bottlers. Is that?
我没有跟其他 IB 品牌就是卖桶子吗？
有像 Lagos 的那个 Burnside，
Okay.
一开始是他们卖给我们，但后来还有跟我们买了2桶回去的。
Yes, we do. So for example, for the Burnside, the casks were sold to us from Lagos, and later on, then they bought 2 more casks back from us. So yeah, we do trade with other brands.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Any other questions before we move back to the presentation?
Well, I'd love to see if Michael and Howard, if you've got any tasting notes and whatnot. It still tastes very young and very fresh, and like all those light floral notes that Linkwood is so good, but it's so old.
Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious.
没有就是因为我觉得第一个当第一杯也是因为我认为 Linkwood 它的酒体是比较轻一点，然后带一点花香跟果香。那其实这一支你在喝的时候还会带一点点微微的果酸的感觉。那最后尾韵的话会带一点瓜果的味道，所以我认为这一款当第一杯是非常适合的。
So Caol put this as the first to taste because this is really light and fruity, and you've got the sourness from different fruit, and then there's melon as well. So although, like you said, it's really old, but it's definitely light enough to begin the tasting with. Yeah.
而且林克伍德这个酒厂，我认为它的酒体啊，跟波本桶这种桶型结合在一起，表现都还蛮漂亮的。相信你们今天在喝这个林克伍德30年的时候，也可以感觉到，它的酒体的这种带的花香跟果香的味道是很甜美的。
Yeah, and so the Linkwood, you know, it's the liquid, and then the performance of the bourbon cask is, you know, it's just for him, he thinks it's rather perfect. So it's definitely a good way to start. Light and floral, melon coming through your palate. Yeah. We have that. We have the same thing. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say rock melon, but Michael beat me to it. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, amazing.
Grassiness environment for something that's 30 years old. Grassiness 就是有点那种青草。
尾韵的时候，尾韵可以感觉到有点草本的调性。对，因为其实虽然我们都觉得Linkwood 的它的酒体应该是走花香跟果香，但其实在迪亚吉欧里面，它把 Linkwood 的 New Make 是定位在绿色的草本的那种风味调性。所以其实你在尾韵可以喝到一点点草本的风味，也是会有感觉得到这样子。
Although people think Linkwoods tend to be, you know, fruity and floral, but for Diageo, they actually put their Linkwood, you know, new make, you know, with the taste of a green and, you know, grassiness, this kind of flavor. So if you taste that, it's definitely it's definitely what one should expect.
Yeah, cool. Well, should we perhaps pour the Ben Nevis to drink while you take us through the rest of the PowerPoint, and then we can finish on the notes for the Ben Nevis?
Yeah, sure. 所以
Okay.
现在跳回去，然后他们可以准备要喝 Ben Nevis。
好，
我们就这样，
就讲完。OK， 他们有比较喜欢哪一种风格酒标
Okay. Does anyone prefer any style of label? I think I asked that before. Any preferences?
The very first few labels were amazing.
The very first few.
The cat one.
OK，
Okay.
The wushu cat. Yeah, those cat ones, the comic label ones. Yeah.
Okay. 他们很喜欢猫的 comic.
Yeah, the one with Bunnahabhain 89 and the Jake 15. Those are super cool.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I can't remember what's inside the bottle. Funny.
Okay, yeah, yes.
That's really
Yeah.
funny.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So now we will tell you a bit more about Whiskey Age, the brand Whiskey Age.
好
讲吧。
好，那 Whisky Age 的话，我们主要的主视觉就是以一个年轮为一个代表，就是因为年轮的每一层呢，就代表的是它那个累积的时光。那其实它也反映到威士忌在橡木桶里面熟成，也是因为经过每一年的慢慢熟成，才造成它独特的风格。那 Whisky Age 我们另外呢，在不同的节日当中，也会有画出特别的酒标，像是你们看到第二排这样子。
Okay. So the character of so for the labels, Whiskey Age has the growth ring. I'm sure you've all realized that it's growth ring. So it represents how how whiskey ages and matures in the cask, over the years. So this is definitely something. This is a piece of this is definitely something we'll continue to use. And for special occasions like Christmas or for example, certain holidays, then we will release different styles of labels, still keeping the growth ring somehow and as an element.
那我们最近开始也是跟一些插画家合作，把他们的一些作品跟我们的联轮去结合在上面，这样子。
Yeah, so we're also working with different visual artists, and then asking them to use the growth ring as an element and then create art with it. So for in the future, there'll be different styles of art coming for the labels. Yeah.
Okay. 好，那这一款班尼富其实它是我们去年圣诞节出的版本，那它是跟我们 Whisky Age 另外一支 Bravo 26年两个刚好可以合成一个酒标，就是你在爵士酒吧里面听着音乐，喝着酒，然后听着爵士乐这样子。
Okay. So Nevis, you can actually combine. So the artwork is a set with the Bravo 26-year-old and the Nevis 26. It's actually a set if you have the bottles right next to each other. So imagine, Christmas time, you're in a bar, jazz bar, drinking whiskey. Definitely the feel kind of we're going for the label.
他们 Bravo 有喝过。
Have you ever tried? Has any of you tried Bravo?
I think I had that Bravo one at Elysian ages ago. I love Bravo. It's such a juicy kind of spirit. But I noticed as well that it looks like there's space for another label to connect up on the right hand side of the Bravo.
That's okay.
These two bottlings were so popular here at the bar.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The Bravo was the dark horse. I think a lot of people didn't know what to expect too much until they tasted it, and then they went crazy for it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Is the theme always going to be that they're 26 years old, even if you can't get 1996 bottles?
How do you mean the theme? You mean for Christmas or?
Well, they're both 26 years old.
Yeah.
Are you going to continue?
You mean was it intentional?
Yeah.
OK， 他说因为这个是26年，这也是26年，那这个是故意的吗？还是只是刚好？
我跟你讲，真的，这个真的是刚好，我们就是有2桶1996的桶子，然后又很符合圣诞节该要给人家一些比较温暖的调性，所以 Bravo 其实你在喝的话会比较像是带一点果汁啊，还有点奶油、薯饼啊这种味道。班尼富的话，它就是热带水果的果香，也是会给人家比较多温暖的风味，所以我们就刚好选了这1996的2桶，又比较符合像圣诞节可以比较成双成对的这种感觉。
Okay, so to answer your question, it was a total accident that they were two 1996 26-year-olds that we thought both were quite perfect for the Christmas theme and weather, because the Bravo is more fruity and buttery and gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling, And the Ben Nevis, as well as it's also warm flavor, but it's more fruity and tropical. But as well, it's also gives you that warm flavor. So it was total accident. It's definitely not intentional.
The thing is now you might have to do it for the rest of the Christmases, or at least try.
Let's try. Yeah, we can try.
Yeah.
You guys got 91 points for this Ben Nevis, right? Today?
Yeah.
This is the one.
Congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, yes, this is the one. And
91.
This one.对，在前面2个小时有发布。
I mean, Whiskey Age one previously also got 91 points, I think, or 92. So that was really good.
Yeah, so we just got the results and we put it on the presentation.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Super typical.
right. The Christmas last year. Previous year's Christmas edition was a 24 hour.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes. 对，去年是欧德尼24跟那个 Secret Space 31年这样。对。
Okay.
OK。
Right, so whilst you guys pour the next one, we will jump back to the presentation. Whilst you pour. Okay.
Oh, good.
那你就先回到讲解的地方，
OK
然后再跳回喝酒的部分。
哦，好。那这是班尼夫，但是那我还是讲一下为什么选这支。但是班尼夫其实它喝起来它的调性并没有到很多人都觉得1996是班尼夫的黄金年份，那可是你们在喝的时候应该可以感觉到它其实还算是蛮干净的，而且跟一些果香类的班尼夫会比较不太一样，就带一点微微的烟熏杏桃，然后甚至有点白色水果的调性。
Okay. So just to add a little bit more about the Ben Nevis, it's, hold on. So it's actually creamy. It's really creamy. And hold on. My technology is not working.
Good.
然后我觉得喝起来有点像卡尼雪的调性。
因为我有点失忆，你刚刚讲什么？
OK，
是在这里吗？
好，没关系。那你刚刚讲说，那你刚刚说他们有没有觉得喝起来有点像卡尼雪？
Okay. So do you guys think that this Ben Nevis tastes like Klein Leash? A little bit?
I can kind of see it. For me, there's a lot of like bitter oolong tea leaves. There's that like earthiness to it. I think that there's definitely a waxiness, but not a honey waxiness is what I was getting. Like I agree with Michael as well. Lots of green apples on it as well. So yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know. It doesn't have this full savoriness that Ben Nevis sometimes does.
Okay.
But I can definitely see like,
Because on
It's-
the nose, there's like apricot, passion fruit, tropical fruit, and in the middle you can also smell a bit of lychee. I don't know if you guys smell that.
Yeah, like the shells from the lychee.
Yeah, lots of honey on the nose. Yeah,
应该
for me.
Yeah,
我觉得
very
就
sweet
是
apples.
果香的味道，但没有到那么饱满的。
Yeah, so it's like fruity, but it's not a very heavy kind of fruity. Yeah.
对，好
Okay.
所以好，接下来
Okay. Cool.
我先讲一下我们这10个底下。
Okay.
How many more 96 barrels do you have in your warehouses?
他说我们上1996年的公司。
没有很多。
Not very many.
Okay.
Oh, so that means there's a few.
Very many.
It's getting
But like previously, it was
dark now.
Wonder if we can reach 30 years old for that.
definitely waxiness. Okay, not as much as Klein Leash, but it's the waxiness Nevis I've had. That makes sense. Okay， 他说就是没有到像小猫一样那么有辣子调，但是他
对
觉得就是这个已经是他喝过就是班尼夫来讲最有
辣子调，对，
那种感觉
没错
对，
就是像 Oliver 讲的一样，它其实这一款就是班尼富，其实我们当时在试的时候，我们就是觉得它后段那个辣子感，真的是在其他1996的班尼富是没有出现过这样的一个调性，所以我们觉得它是还蛮有趣的，那也很该要有班尼富的一些前段果香它都有，所以我们才会选这一桶这样子。
Okay. One of the key reasons why we chose this cask was that when we were trying the samples, we didn't taste this sort of waxiness in other 1996 casks, whereas we did with this one, as well as all of the other flavors that a Nevis offers. So this was the reason why this cask was chosen. Now, cool.
那直接就说
Okay,
完了
我直接讲 okay. So on this slide, you can see that at the moment we have 9 distributors worldwide, and there will be more that will be added to this list, hopefully in the next years to come. I think the most recent one that joined our distribution list is the one in London, called Milroy's of Soho, which is really, famous whiskey bar and shop in London. Yeah. 下一个
他们现在喝苦力，
没有，你就讲完，你还可以再讲一样。
可以再讲一点是不是？哦，好。然后
OK
这是我们代理的品牌，这样
Okay.
就简单带过吧。
Okay. So as well as having our 2 brands and cask trading, etc., we also distribute several brands from different countries into Taiwan. We're the exclusive distributor to all of them in Taiwan. There are plenty, there are quite a few from Germany and from Belgium and from France. So, and then this year we've brought on 2 Belgian brands, Alternative and The Roots. They've just joined us a couple of months ago, and later on in the year there will be other Irish brands to come. One's called Kiloan Distillery and the other one's called Two Stacks. They're based in Northern Ireland, and as well as whiskey, you can also see that we're adding rum brands and cognac, hopefully in the future Armagnac brands to the list of brands we offer as well. Any questions on the brands or?
No.
So do you, obviously working with those brands, do you guys get the opportunity, because obviously you were saying you bought some barrels from the Gust and then they bought some back. Are these the main kind of guys you're all sharing information about barrels and stuff with?
他说我们因为我们有很多就是品牌嘛，那我们是不是也会跟他们就是买一桶卖桶啊等等之类的这样子？跟他们分享我们的就是桶子的来源啊之类的。
我们桶子，可是我们桶子来源大部分基本上我们桶子来源当然是跟很多的一些broker去购买。那当然我们大部分我们现在代理的这些品牌，我们也有一些他们会释出他们的桶子，让我们跟他做联名，或者是直接就是卖桶子给我们。像Melbourne 最近就是有跟我们一起切同一个干邑，然后 Jerry 之前就是有卖一桶Secret Isla 给我们做台湾的专属桶。那最近我们跟 Louis Jerry 呢也有切同一个班尼富，对。那当然如果有机会可以跟他们一起联名，或者是跟他买桶子的话，我们也是非常乐意这样子。
Okay. So most of our casks they are from cask traders, but because we work with so many brands, we tend to we sometimes release joint bottlings together. So most recently, I think in the previous past, we actually released Secret Isla with Whiskey Jewelry. And most recently, we're about to do a joint bottling with Moban as a cognac. And probably the most exciting one, well, not the most exciting, but somewhat exciting, is that we will be doing a joint bottling with Whiskey Jewelry. That's a Nevis. So I think there are different. We definitely do joint bottlings where we think there's a good fit and etc.
Yeah, cool. I will definitely be hassling Kelvin and Yao for a bottle of the Malt Barn cognac collaboration because that's such a cool category. Ollie was wondering who your biggest customers are in Taiwan, other bars or shops or customers?
不是 bar
哦
是酒吧还是店面是那个
就是大家可以看这些，就是这是我们目前包桶客户的一些酒标。那其实大部分我们的主要的业务来源就是包桶服务这一个部分。那我们所以呢，其实我们最大的客户来源就是酒吧，那个酒庄店面这样子。
Okay, so on this page, you can see one of our key businesses is the bottling service for private clients. And a key part of our private clients, they're all whiskey shop owners, also bars or whiskey societies. They buy full casks from us, then bottle them and then design their own labels. You can see some of the labels on this page. So definitely shop owners, what we'll say is number one, and then bar owners. Yeah.
所以主要的来源就是酒吧，然后再就是一开始是专卖店酒庄，然后再就是威士忌酒吧。对，
这我想过。
你讲好 ，OK。那
Cool. So should we do a bit more tasting then?
Yeah, I think well, I've just polished up a glass of my Cooley. I'm really curious to see what the guys thought of that because that was, I'm not a big fan of Irish whiskey, but
Okay.
that was super cool. Like it just tasted like sour apple candy.
Apple candy.
Yeah.
So sweet. It's so good.
因为这款 Cooley 啊，它其实我们当初喝到这个 sample 的时候，其实我们自己也觉得还蛮惊艳的，因为它虽然才8年，但它并没有任何的新酒感。那其实它就是一个很经典的 Cooley 会有的那种青苹果的果香的味道，还有一点西洋梨跟香蕉，还有奶油巧克力。那当然因为酒标的规范关系，所以我们有一些资讯是没有透露在上面的，所以也是希望大家可以先喝喝看，去感受一下它的风味的调性。
So when we first tasted this Cooley, we were really surprised, even though it was only 8 years, but it didn't taste young at all. So this is what really surprised us. And because of some limitations, there were quite a lot of information that we couldn't share on the label. So we recommend you taste it first and let us know what you think.
Yeah. Ooh. Ollie reckons candied overripe bananas, vanillas, plums. It's bright. Drinks like scotch. Howard, Michael, what do you guys think?
Ripe bananas. 非常熟的香蕉，熟香蕉。
对，它就的确会像刚刚我讲的，就带一点点糖果啊，还有一点香蕉啊，还有一点青苹果的味道。所以其实就像我们刚刚讲，虽然我们的酒其实跟酒标真的没有什么太大的关联，但是有时候就会无形中去做一个连接起来的。我们其实当初选好这支酒，然后排定这个酒标的时候，它原本的原图呢是一个猫老板在做棉花糖的样子。那我觉得也刚好跟了这一个Cooley它的这种就是水果软糖啊，一点糖果的味道可以去做一个结合这样子。
So even though we don't, there are no connections between our labels and the liquid inside, but the original artwork, which you can see is the blue background, is the cat making the pink thing is actually candy, you know those candy that's fluffy. I don't know how you call that.
Like fairy floss?
Yeah, fairy floss, yeah. So and that somehow links with the flavor of this Cooley, which is the sweetness from fairy floss and fruitiness. So there is some sort of light connection to it. Yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, I think everyone's picking up on the sugar.
The sugar, cream soda.
Cream soda, cool.
Green apple.
Cream soda.
然后
Very
对
cool.
你要讲吗？
那好奇他们觉得它是什么桶型这样。
Okay, so what do you think is the cask type?
It's so light in color. I'd
Mhm.
almost say like a refill. It's got a lot of flavor for a refill.
Refill.
You feel
Mm.
Feel like bourbon.
Bourbon.
bourbon?
Bourbon?
Are you sure?
Do I get another choice?
Yes.
That's hard to read.
This one cask top is a first fill bourbon cask.
Yeah. First fill.
That was a trick question.
Your question.
Don't make me stress like that.
Yeah.
But 可是其实在台湾，我们当初给很多酒庄盲饮的时候，他们都没有猜到它是爱尔兰的威士忌，
Okay.
以为是斯贝塞。
Okay. So we actually took the sample out to some of our shop owners and asked them to do a blind tasting. And none of them guessed this was Irish whiskey. They actually guessed this was some sort of Speyside whiskey. Yeah.
I could totally see like I could totally see something like Glen Elgin or
Glen
something
Oh.
like that, if I'm not mistaken.
有像，
嗯
而且他们都大概都猜是12到14年左右的。
Okay. Everyone guessed it was somewhere between 12 to 14 years from Speyside, but definitely not Irish, not 8 years.
Yeah. 然后就像他们讲的一样，就是这种青苹果啊、香蕉啊，还有就是新鲜的西洋梨的味道，其实在当初在喝的时候都有表现出来，其实都还蛮惊艳的。这样，
Yeah, so everyone definitely agreed on the green apple, banana, pear taste, and people were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
对，然后颜色很浅，是因为我们所有自己装瓶的酒都没有做焦糖调色，我们就是直接装瓶这样。
Okay, so the reason why the light color, we don't add any coloring to any of our bottlings, so straight out of the cask. So definitely it's original color, hence the light coloring.
Yeah, they're all very light, but they're all like so distinct and like flavorful and whatnot.
Okay.
Howard, I disagree with that the color shows it's young, because you compare that to the color on the Linkwood and they're pretty much identical. There's a difference of 22 years. And I'm trying to get all
因为他说30年跟那个8年的是一样的颜色。
对啊，就是其实就我们真的不是靠颜色来选酒，我们其实真的是以风味来选酒。
Yeah, we definitely don't select based on color. We select based on flavor. Yeah.
amazing.
Oh.
I think the Highland Park is next for everyone. I wanted to Howard clean your glasses. Yeah, I probably do need to clean my glasses, but still.
就是还是因为他们前面有人讲说，就是他们觉得爱尔兰的40%到43%很无聊，所以他们是喜欢这种高酒精浓度的爱尔兰嘛。
Okay, so someone mentioned in the chat that they thought 40 to 43% Irish whiskey was not very interesting. Does this mean that you guys all prefer high ABV Irish whiskey?
I think, yeah, it's in Australia, high ABV is
The way to go.
The way to go, yeah. Especially with like a lot of the local whiskey being produced around. A lot of what we get here is bottled at cask strength, and in Australia, that we get as high as like 64%. So, yeah, we all.
I understand why Australian people get on with Taiwanese people because we don't have high ABVs.
Yes.
We
Yes.
like booze. We like alcohol.
品味就是
就是喝
就是喝
铜
铜墙
也是喝铜墙。他们有喝过 Grey Northern 吗？
So has any of you tried Great Northern?
Great Northern.
Great Northern Distillery, Irish.
Oh, no.
No.
I've heard briefly of it, but I don't know if anyone else in the chat has tried it or heard of it. Michael
Really?
said no. Dave, no.
No. Okay.
就库里之前的创办人后来开了这个酒厂之后，他做出来的风味其实跟库里有点像，但是我觉得库里喝起来比 Grey Northern 还要饱满很多，但是青苹果的调性都还是
Okay. So Cooley's founder John Teeling actually sold Cooley to Beamson Suntory in 2014, and then built a distillery called Great Northern close by. So it's somewhat, so Great Northern is actually quite similar to Cooley. So if you're interested in sort of getting to know more about sort of Irish whiskey, a lot of the new Irish whiskey brands actually use Great Northern and Cooley new makes to mature in their casks. Yeah.
而且 Grey Northern 的前身就是啤酒厂。
Yeah, and Great Northern Distillery was a beer distillery. So yeah.
Well, we've got a brewery here called Great Northern. It's not very good beer.
Oh right, okay. How's it also?
I might be.
Okay.
Okay, might be not a great confusion.
Cool. 好，然后最后就讲，我们10月会有一个的讲10月的时候，我们会在台南开属于我们自己的品饮空间跟品牌专卖店。
Okay. So this October, it's taken, so no further ado. So this October, we will actually open our own store and our bar and our whiskey bar. It's going to be in the same space. And it's here in Tainan. So if any of you ever visits Taiwan and visits us after October, you'll be able to see the newly opened concept store and a bar, of course. Yeah.
Ooh. So what made you decide to open a bar? I mean, because I think, remind me if I'm wrong, you guys had like an ice cream shop, was it?
Yeah, at the beginning, at the very beginning. Just
very beginning. Yeah,
Oh,
that's super cool. So you
一开始2014年的时候，我们的确是做意大利的吉拉多，然后是用艾雷岛的威士忌来做这样子。
So yeah, at the beginning, 2014, we actually used Isla whiskey to make gelato. So that was really, yeah, definitely something very special. And
没有了，
没有。
就没了。
那为什么要开店？你还没回答。
为什么要开店？希望可以让更多人可以来喝我们家的酒。
Oh, okay. And then so the ice cream bit was definitely correct. One of the key reasons why we open a bar is because we want, more people to be able to enjoy our bottlings. And that was the main motivation. Yeah.
Now, I think the important question is, will there be ice cream on offer there in summer?
Oh, right. I don't know, but I don't think it's on the menu at the moment. But I'll definitely make the suggestion.
Yeah.
好吧，以后的。
Yeah, well, it gets real hot here in Australia, and we're starting to discover the joys of whiskey ice cream. So, yeah.
所以我们夏天可以考虑有那个威士忌酒拉头。
我们会跟我们老板讲。
对，我刚刚讲，我刚刚说我会跟我们老板讲。
OK， 好，然后
Cool， 那下一支吧。
下一个是 Highland Park。
Right, so we'll move on to the Highland Park.
那这支 Highland Park 其实当初在选的时候，第一个它表现其实跟很多的跟以往的 Highland Park 表现比较不太一样，是你可以从它的香气闻起来，它是非常的比较有层次感，然后味道会比较脏一点点。
Okay.
比较 dirty 一点。
Okay, so this Highland Park we think is rather different from maybe the other Highland Parks you've tasted. It's a bit more dirty is the word. It's what well used. I don't know if you think that.
Oh, definitely. It's like drinking moss and salt lick rocks and volcanic. It's cool.
他们说对，他们觉得比较脏。
对，然后 就是味道比较脏以外，但是你还是可以感觉到 Highland Park 会有的那种烟熏啊，然后柑橘跟淡淡的那种蜂蜜，还有坚果跟草本的调性这样子。Like wrong, I
Okay.
don't think so.
So you can definitely taste like the barbecue taste, the slightly, the smoky and tangerine, apple and light floral and some some spices.
Kevin 是喜欢这个酒标，是不是？他觉得这酒标很酷吗？
The label on this cereal is so good. Yeah. 对，他是喜欢这个酒标。
他喜欢这个酒标哦，这个酒标是我们要介绍这个吗？
对啊。
哦，好，那这个酒标的话，它主要是我们台湾的一个视觉设计师叫做叶迅的人设计的。那他其实本身他是古典科班出身的，所以他的画作会比较常以一些人啊或是人面为主这样子，然后带一点哲学的思想。
So Kelvin said that he really likes the label on this release. So the artists behind this label study classics, and he was actually, sorry, it was a she. She was definitely she. So she is definitely really into the whole concept of the human, but then turning them into through sort of through different media, because she's also a multimedia I think a content creator. So she likes I think it's the word would be the clashes between the calm and the wild, human and trees, and it's sort of the clashes between things that are very extreme.
It's very cool. It reminds me a lot of Salvador Dali's kind of not quite surrealist, but like that taking aspects of the real and the not real.
The not real, yeah. And she's also really into philosophy, so it's definitely she looks at how to represent how to turn philosophy into her artwork, and yeah,
it's really cool. I think this one more than any other whiskey has gotten the comments going. Derek says it's funky. Howard says it's musty. Ollie was shocked at how high the ABV was. Viscous, coats the palate with smoky campfire charcoal. I agree with Howard. It's initially soft and then it's got a strong follow on. You take a sip and you're like, oh, hello. And then it's boom in your face. Just that salty dryness is so cool. So cool.
Salty dryness, yeah. 就是很咸，但是又很 dry. 单宁感。
OK， 我也是，对，可是我觉得它就是后面的那种灰烬感，其实是还有那种炭火感是很明显，所以我当初喝到这一款酒的时候，我认为它就是很像是你在海岸边的时候去闻到一点点烟熏烤肉的味道，然后还有你可能在吃的一些野餐这样子的一个情境这样子。
Will said when he tasted this for the first time, he definitely noticed the finish, was just the smokiness in the finish. It's as if you were doing a barbecue or a picnic by the sea. You smell that smokiness, and you can feel like you're about to have a bite to eat, but with meat, picnic, this kind of background.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yao pointed out as well, the finish really clings and it hangs on, it sticks around. Like I can still taste it even though I've had a mouthful of water.
那种尾韵很长。
尾韵很长，对，尾韵很长。然后就是它是猪头桶，但我们不确定是不是之前是波本桶这样。Michael 问，
猪头桶是
Hogan's Head。
Okay, so it's actually hogshead, but we are not sure whether it was in a ex-bourbon cask.
嗯
Fair enough. Usually if people just say hogshead, I think most people assume it's an ex-bourbon
Because-
hogshead.
Everyone thinks the finish is extremely long.
Yeah, yeah，对，这一支酒其实当初它就是在于它的尾韵真的还蛮长的，不像是一般的现在，其实大家都在喝现在新装品的10几年的威士忌，其实可以感觉到尾韵是还蛮短的，没有像这一支可以拉到这么长这样子。
Okay. A lot of the bottlings lately, you know, have been sort of the finishes are definitely much shorter. It's rare to see one that the finish is really long.
嗯
Yeah. We in Australia there's a bottler named Tim Duckett and he has a word for whiskies that have like a really long finish. He calls them brontosaurs because they're like the brontosaurus dinosaur. They're long finish, fat middle, and then a long tail. So it's-
That is funny. Okay. 那时候
yeah.
就那时候就是有一个品牌的老板，然后他就说，像这种尾韵很长的酒，他都会叫它雷龙，
雷龙
就是因为雷龙就是
很长
大
哦
只，然后前面很长，然后身体很大，然后后面
哦
又很长。
哦酷，OK，对，
Yeah.
对，但是它真的也是跟 Highland Park 长得，跟大家印象中的 Highland Park 长得也是比较不太一样。
Okay. It's definitely not sort of your typical Highland Park.
No way. But
所以我们
very
才会把这一款酒放在 The Whisky Blue 这个系列里面这样子。
Yeah. This is the reason why we put it under Whiskey Blues. It's definitely a bit more our choice.
然后也跟 Kelvin 分享，就是这一个酒标的名字叫做 Sense of City。
Okay. Sharing with Kevin, the name of this label is called Sense of the City,
然后还有一个，
Common People.
它就是把城市做成你能画的样子。
Yeah. So turning a city into a person or
Right,
using
okay.
elements of a city in person.
Very nice. Great label.
这个创作家也有帮台湾的一个歌手去做专辑这样子。
Okay.
Mm.
And then this artist also created artwork for a singer in Taiwan to be used as the front of their recording. Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome.
Oh.
Well, I think we're ready and prepared to get into more peaty whiskies.
他觉得很 PT 吗？
没有，他说他已经就是可以进行下一次
OK
repeat
所以你们可以看到社局也有讲说，这一支他自己喝起来也比较像12到15年的一个调性这样子。
So even Serge himself also thought that this is definitely more of a similar to like 12 or 15 years old flavor.
好，
Okay.
OK， 哎，他讲什么？
For those that got to try 1989 Blair also with the label from this artist.
Yes，
Okay.
对他，
所以1989年 Blair also 有这个画家画的吗？
对，也是这个画家画的
Yeah，
对，
对
对，也是这个画家画的，
，OK， 好，没
就
事。
是可以秀给他们看一下前面。让他们看这边都是同一个画家画的。
Okay. So the Blair Arthur Yao was talking about, yeah, it's from the same artist. We definitely recommend it.
就这3张画
Yeah.
对，然后另外一个是 Hebden， 右
Okay.
边这张 Hebden，
And then and another one from this artist is a Hemden.
Cool.
Is that sorry, just quickly. Is that normal that with a set by an artist, it'll be a mix of whiskey and rum? Or is it normal that you do it all whiskey or all rum in each of the sets? Or do you mix it up? Who cares?
就是因为这是同一个画家嘛，那我们为什么会有威士忌跟朗姆酒，还是就是全部都会是威士忌？就是还是只是一个意外，
就
就是
是
意外。
也不能说意外，其实就是老板想装什么就装什么这样。
So,
所以我们就是这么的任性。
so the easiest way to explain if there was any logic behind same artist but rum or whiskey, pretty much what the boss wants. Yes.
It's whatever it feels.
No real story behind it, I'm afraid.
对
No, that's even better.
Yeah. So if he likes something and he thinks this label will go well with it, then that's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So let's move on to, I think the next is Coila.
Mhm.
前面的故事都讲完了，
对，前面都讲完。
那就可以直接带评。
嗯
Opens up with a
，Michael
very,
是讲哪一支酒啊？
opens up with very fruity flavors after a few drops of water. Which one are you referring to, Michael? Opens up with fruity flavor.
The Highland Park.
Highland Park.
哦
Yeah.
Yes, yes. 其实我觉得我们自己选桶的酒款啊，在于你加水之后，其实基本上大部分出现的果香的味道都会比较明显一点，这样子。
Okay, so most of our releases, once you've added water to it, then the fruity flavor is definitely becomes more tends to become more apparent.
好奇他们都会加多少水？
Okay, so Guo is wondering like how much water do you typically add to your whiskey, if you add any?
Just a few drops.
Me,
of it.
it's usually 2 or 3 drops,
Two or three-
roughly.
Okay, 2到3滴.
Me too.
Okay, okay, so everyone's the same then.
OK， 好，
Okay, so Coila.
可以了。
Only a few drops, if at all.
OK
Okay.
OK， 好，那到口味拉这一支的话，其实我们会选这支口味拉，主要是因为很多人就讲1996是班尼富的黄金年份，那2007年很多人也讲是口味拉的黄金年份，不知道大家认不认同这件事情？
Okay, so you know, a lot of people talk about how 1996 was the golden age for Nevis. Then some people also say, okay, then 2007 is the golden age for Coila. What does everyone think about the statement? Do you agree, or what do you think?
I think that Caol between the ages of 5 and 7 years old is always excellent because it's got that youthful sweetness, but the heavy smoke still. But I like, it's so hard to go wrong with Caol. Like, I've tried a few that I haven't been a massive fan of, but considering there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of single cask bottlings out there, it's a pretty good strike rate.
Okay, 他说他觉得5年到7年的Coila就是他觉得是最完美的时间。
5年到7年，2005年。
So Emma, did you mean 2005 to 2007?
No, just 5 to 7 years.
7 years.
7 years, wow.
7年
Wow.
Oh yeah,
That's
so
young.
good.
Well, then I have tried a 5 to 7 year 烤油啊。所以好，没关系好。那因为在in Taiwan, some people say 2007 Coila is very good, so we chose this cask， 就是我们就去选了这种Coila。那这种Coila其实它就是也有带一点那种经典的Coila会有的那种柠檬的果香的味道这样子。
So we think this we thought this Coila was you know, it's got that classic taste for Coila, is peated fruitiness, that classic taste, which was the reason why we selected this.
然后Oliver 有讲他试过3年的，他是试哪一个酒厂做，哪一个 IB 品牌装的？
Which 3-year-old Coila was the one you tried from? Which-
Let me get back to you. I will double check.
Is it the
Okay.
acorn?
Oh, Acorn, very young. This one.
Yeah, I tried it that one years and years ago, but I don't know if it's the same one that Oliver has.
Okay, maybe you can try the Whiskey Jewelry. Their bottle, 3-year Coila is very great, very balanced.
Okay.
Mm.
Whiskey Jewelry, 3 years old.
Emma,
Very-
was that the pink label, like the girl? Yeah, that one.
It's on it. Yeah, it's the Acorn bottle then. Yeah.
It was just too young.
Too young. 他说他是3年的那个酒，Acorn 的，
Acorn 的，
对，
对
他说太年轻了。
太年轻，我知道那支我有喝过，我也觉得太年轻。
Okay.
对，跟 The Whiskey Jewelry 比层次差很多。
Okay. So Caol also tried the same bottle from Acorn, and he also thought this was too young, but he didn't think the Whiskey Jewelry release was it's completely different. So he recommends you trying the Whiskey Jewelry release. Yeah. Also 3 years.
Yeah,
Dum-
it's one of those things where like even if it's young, it can still be good. Like one of my favorite whiskeys was a 4-year-old Bunnahabhain. It tasted like oyster shells. It was peated, but yeah, it's like I agree. We're seeing a lot of 2007 Caol bottlings, but yeah, really cool stuff. This is great. Tastes like grilled sardines.
Yeah. 他说这个很像那个咸鱼，
哦，
烤咸鱼。
所以这一支现在酒标 Oliver 拿这一支吗？
So wait, which one is the one Oliver's? Oh,
I know this one. I know this one.
这是我们的酒。
是我们的酒，是我们的酒。对。
嗯
对，是这一支我们自己觉得啊，喝起来很有那种养乐多，我不知道
Yogurt drink. The one
一点
yeah,
乳酸感这
yeah.
样子。
So it tastes like a yogurt drink.
他自己觉得
What do you think, Oliver?
The one I was just holding up was says a joint bottling for Dream Youth Whiskey Bar that Kelvin sold to me a couple of years ago. I can't remember when it came out exactly. The mouthfeel in the current whiskey age we're drinking, they're very similar Coelas, but this one's much more full, more salty, more briny.
Okay. 他说很像，跟这支很像。
跟
Which
这支
one's
很
the
像，
label again, Ollie?
我觉得有点不太一样。那一支的乳
Oh, right.
也会比较多一点点这样子。它其实算是我们里面选出来很不像口伊拉的口伊拉。
Okay. Caol thinks the bottle Oliver was showing definitely for us it didn't taste like Coila at all, but it's a Coila. Yeah. And then it's got more of that taste of like yogurt drink, you know, that sourness.
Like kind of like is it called kelpie in Japan?
Pico, that kind of taste. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Well,
So,
what
yeah.
does everyone else think of this one apart from Howard saying this is great?
对，所以就蛮多人对那一支印象也蛮深刻的。然后那时候社局给他87分这样子。
A lot of people definitely remember that bottling. Serge gave that bottling I think 87 points. The one the other one, yeah.
Well, I'll have to make sure that I raid Ollie's bar next time I see him. Have a taste of it.
可以跟 Kevin 一起联名选一桶这样。
Yeah. Caol hopes to be able to pick a cask with Kelvin sometime in the future.
Definitely, yeah. Let's work something out. I think Ollie will be interested as well. Let's do something there.
Yeah.
Okay. 有兴趣一起选的。
OK， 好。
好。
那对，所以这一支酒的话，我觉得它就是比较，我觉得2007年的口伊拉就是表现的就是很干净，然后也泥美的果香的味道都比较直接跟甜美这样子。而且我觉得这一支口伊拉加水之后啊，你在喝的时候味道会更加的甜美这样子，然后灰烬感会比较多一点。
So Caol thinks that this Coila is definitely it's very clean. The peated, the peat comes through quite strongly and very directly. Fruitiness, the sweetness as well. And if you add a bit of water, then the smokiness comes through as well gradually. Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Really good
Another
stuff.
long
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, 也是尾韵很长。
对
Yeah, it's that classic calulus sweetness, but it's very dirty at the same time.
我觉得很
而且
脏。
很脏。
嗯
I don't think so.
Cole doesn't think it's dirty.
I think Highland Park is dirty than Coila.
He thinks Highland Park is dirtier than Coila.
I think that Highland Park is definitely dirtier, but like I still definitely think that, like, when I say dirty, I mean like the embers after a campfire kind of stuff. But it's a compliment when I say dirty, I promise.
Emma 说他 dirty 都是好的意思。
哦，OK。哦，那你帮我跟他讲说，因为在台湾啊，听到 dirty 啊，大部分人家都觉得就是很不平衡，然后味道会有一些不太讨喜的味道这样。
So in Taiwan, if you say something is dirty, people tend to think that it's not well balanced, and it's taste that you probably wouldn't like. Yeah.
When I like, yeah, when I talk about a whiskey being dirty, it just means that it's not super salty, but it's earthy, but it's not fresh earth. It's like that, the very dry earth, clay, dirty kind of thing. So that's what I mean. But I will keep that in mind, so if I ever end up in Taiwan, I will not make that mistake. Yeah.
OK，
Cool.
对，
Dusty.
非常灰烬感。
Yeah.
对，这一支其实
Yeah.
灰烬感也蛮明显的。
Okay.
Yeah，OK。
Oh, awesome. And I think last whiskey, now this might upset you guys. I'm not a big Laphroaig fan, but I'm
Yes.
excited to try it. So always down to try more Laphroaig.
然后社局就是跟他讲说 ，Daisy 也是非常好的口语啦，然后非常的干净漂亮的。
So sharing another Surge commentary, probably rather similar to what we've actually mentioned already. Clean, pure.
没了。
Yeah, that's it really. Towards
Okay.
the end.
OK， Laphroaig。
Okay, moving on to, I think this is the final. 最后一支吗？
对，最后一支的最后一支。Yeah， 没有拿热带水果。
typical
对，
Laphroaig
本来就这支多，我也觉得没有很热带水果。可以先回答这个问题。
Yeah, so we didn't think this was very fruity, tropical fruity either.
对，然后这一支是可以写上拉佛格的 Wilson 这样子。
So this one you can actually say this is from this is actually a Williamson that you can say Laphroaig on the label. We have some other casts where with limitations we are not able to do that. Yeah.
跟大家分享一个，就是因为分享一个小故事，这上面没有写，就是我们的所有的酒标啊，都会先给装瓶工厂送审。那这个 Wilson 其实当初他在送审的时候，我们原本没有写 Laphroaig Distillery， 但是呢，因为装瓶工厂就说，哦，你要附注，要么你写 Secret Isla with Distillery， 要么你就写 This at Laphroaig Distillery。那我相信大家都很聪明，你应该也会想要选哪一个放在酒标上面吧。
So sharing a little anecdote, so all of our labels before they go into printing, we actually send them off to the bottling halls for them to be approved. This particular bottling hall go back to us and said, so you need to mention where was it distilled at? So you can either put Secret Isla or you can put Laphroaig. Which one do you want? So obviously we put Laphroaig on the label. Yeah.
Lucky you guys got away with doing that. I know that they're cracking down on some. So I suppose you might have just got the one person.
No, we probably just got the one person that said, what are you doing? You need to put either this or that and you pick. Yeah.
What's the word Laphroaig on your paperwork? Do you know?
Sorry?
Was the name Laphroaig on the paperwork when you bought the barrel?
他们说就是那个拉佛格有在我们的那个我们买桶的时候有在上面吗？
一开始是没有的。
那我们怎么叫拉佛格？
我们没有，因为 Wilson 本来就是拉佛格的汤匙桶，那只是他那时候标示是说是 Wilson， 但他写的 single malt。然后如果是 Wilson Brandy Malt， 因为其实 Wilson 大部分是 Brandy Malt，但是他这边刚刚写 single malt， 所以当我们送审酒标的时候，专门工厂才会要求我们说你的标是哪一个这样。
Okay. So the paperwork didn't show Laphroaig, but Williamson actually changed to Laphroaig. So that's why when we send the label of approval, the bottling host said, well, it's Williamson single malt, but then you still have to state where it's distilled at. So do you want to put Secret Isla or do you want to put Laphroaig? Because if it's blended, then it's not.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for that. Yep.
对，所以其实这一批的桶子，其实一开始我们卖给客户，我们也是跟客户说只能写 Wilson 而已。
Okay. So this, so we actually have several Williamson casks. When we sold them to customers, we actually told them you couldn't put Laphroaig on it. You can only put Williamson. So yeah, it's a little small story.
Oh, yeah, this is so interesting. There's yeah, minerals seems to be the definite. It's very like magnesium, but I get a bit of like watermelon rind, like the white part of a watermelon.
然后 watermelon 西瓜
有 watermelon 吗
，maybe umami。
对，其实当初我们在选 day 桶的时候，其实它本身的就是无妈咪的这种鲜味是生蚝的味道是很明显的。那再来就是刚好我必须有讲的，这个又是一个很凑巧，就是酒标又跟酒又再次连接在一起，其实本来根本都没有要连接在一起的，那只是因为你们可以看到这一张酒标的原图，它是一个月饼摊。那其实在台湾就是在台湾中秋节的时候，大部分大家就是吃月饼跟烤肉。那其实尼美的威士忌很适合搭配烤肉肉类这样子的去做搭配这样子，所以这个 Wilson 我必须讲，他又是很凑巧的，又跟了这个月饼摊做一个很完美的结合这样子。
Okay. So you know how we mentioned before that there's no real logic, which artwork we put on what release, what bottling, but this one also somehow it's connected. So you can see the original artwork of this label. It's actually a mooncake shop. And for Mooncake Festival in Taiwan, people tend to do two things during this festival, which is eating mooncakes and then having a barbecue. And then peated whiskey tends to work really well with barbecuing and mooncakes. So even though it's not intentional, but it's somehow connected. Yeah.
Very cool. I'm definitely going to be doing that I'll be finding mooncakes when they come out around the same time in Australia. I'm definitely going to do a pairing.
Yeah, and then do barbecue. And then drink this.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
然后当初我们在选这款酒的时候，其实我们一开始喝到的时候，一开始的 sample 它其实生蚝的味道会比较明显一点，就是刚谁讲无妈咪？
无妈咪。
刚刚有一个Howard 讲的无妈咪的味道，其实在那时候我们在试的时候，我们就觉得很明显以外，再就是拉佛格的点味，你也可以在里面感受到，甚至你可以感觉到这支的拉佛格是非常的平衡，带一点点果香的味道，然后但是还是有拉佛格会有的薄荷的一些调性这样子，所以我们我自己认为，其实它跟生蚝也可能会蛮搭的。
So when we were selecting this cask, the original sample, you can definitely taste oyster and the umami. That both of this taste was really clear to us, and then also the iodine taste that you can taste from Laphroaig liquids. That also was obvious to us. it was well balanced, floral, mint. Personally, Caol thinks that it could probably work really well with oysters too. But that's definitely something, well, we haven't tried that, but he thinks could work well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that just a dash of that on top of oysters would be cool. Well, I think we've all tasted the 6 whiskies now. We might launch the poll to see what everyone's favorite is. Holly, if you wanted to launch that poll, and
Yes.
let you guys, Yvonne, quote, you can see the results, but we
Okay.
save it till the end.
他们会
voting
觉得
cards
像策局讲的一样，是比较偏烟熏的拉佛格。
Does everyone agree with Serge that it's a smoky Laphroaig?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
他们同意。
Yeah, I'm seeing nods as well.
Uh,
I will say as well, guys, I'll just, sorry, interject. If anybody wanted to grab a bottle of a whiskey age or whiskey blues, we've still got our end of financial year sale on. Oh, not we, the guys at Select Spirits, Kelvin and Yao. They've got stupid good prices. Trust me, I have been so tempted so many times, but I'm very broke. So I've just shared it in the chat if you wanted to grab a bottle at their sale. But yeah, we'll announce the poll soon. And yeah, if there's anything else you guys wanted to add, sorry, I just thought I'd get in there with a little bit of info. You guys wanting to pick up a bottle.
你说的地方。
Okay.
I like Serge's mention of the grapefruit aftertaste.
Yeah, it's very like grape skins.
哇嘛，然后可以连到我们官方 IG 跟 FB。
Okay. So finally in the presentation, if you're interested in following us on Instagram or Facebook or come to our website is both in English and in Mandarin. Here are the QR codes.
Yeah, I think you'll be getting a few followers. I will definitely be opening my phone and keeping up
We
with you
can
guys.
also send a presentation, so in case anyone wants to go through bits.
Yeah, well, I know that I would love it for later on. But yeah, other
If
than
you
that-
can share it, I'll include it with the video at the end to those who couldn't make the tasting tonight, so they can watch that at home at their own leisure.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
We'll do
Yeah.
that.
read through it and see all the exciting updates. But yeah, Ollie, have we shared the poll results yet?
Who hasn't voted? Put your votes in.
Yeah, who hasn't voted?
Dave, Howard, Michael, who hasn't voted?
There's a small group. We know it's one of you three. It's Howard.
I voted. I'm showing my hand as voted.
Michael.
他们点完，他们已经投完了。
Outed Michael.
我还没有投。OK。
Right, closing in 3, 2, 1.
Well, as much as Howard thought it was young, it's an overwhelming love for Cooley.
I know.
Yeah. It's a real surprise whiskey. Like it sneaks up on you, I feel like. So good. And great to see a really good Irish whiskey. Indie bottling, like we don't get too many of those.
Yeah.
Michael, what was your favorite?
我觉得你可以听着分享。
Highland Park.
The Highland Park.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kelvin and Yao?
Ben Nevis.
OK。
I shouldn't have been surprised.
Ben Nevis and then followed by Highland Park. That was really good.
But you didn't vote?
Ours, we can't see the vote. I'm not sure.
Ours,
Co-host.
yeah, I think because we're hosts, we can't vote.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Ben is number one for sure for me.
Yeah.
And
Sadly,
Nevis
but-
definitely was the winner for me.
Okay,
虽然今天最喜欢是Cooley，
so everyone likes the Cooley.
When I
Well,
went
it was
taste-
probably my favorite, but again, as host, I can't vote. But yeah, I think yeah, it's a small sample size, but yeah, definitely. I think Cooley got a vote from nearly most of the people. So yeah, super cool. Well,
More available.
Yeah, Cooley, there's some left, yeah, and Linkwood 30, there's some left as well, yeah.
oh,
No Nevis.
Oh, Nevis, snapped up.
Nevis is long
Nevis straight away.
So for our next bottlings, I think there will be Great Northern coming. So it'll be
Ooh.
nice for you to compare and contrast.
yeah, that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think the official portion of the tasting, I suppose, might be done. Thank you so much, Quo and Yvonne. We might kick on a little bit for if anybody has more questions or anything like that, but I think it's been absolutely wonderful to chat to you guys and to hear the story and to see all the exciting things you guys have coming up. And I will be visiting to have ice cream. There better be ice cream in that bar when I come to visit. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone who took the time out to join us. And yeah, I think a little bit of chill time if you guys can stick around, if you guys have other places to be. Obviously, I know Kelvin and Yao have bar to run, but yeah.
Thank you so much for organizing, Emma and Ollie.
Thanks for hosting.
And
Let's go on, Yvonne.
Go in one. Amazing presentation.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll come
Thank-
visit the store in Taiwan soon.
And thanks for everyone who joined us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Check out the store. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.